Hi there, I'm Frank from the City of Games, and today I'm going to be playing the family mode of the Isle of Cats with 2 players. Now I've done a couple of things just to make this a little bit easier for you guys watching at home. Firstly, you'll see that I've added an additional colour identifier to each player boat, just so you can see that this is the red player and this is the purple player. I'm also going to play with the lesson cards face up, so you'll be able to remember what they are and see which player has which. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is deal out our lesson cards. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to choose. Our red player has got 9 points if you have exactly 5 blue cats, 2 points per treasure on your boat, and 12 points if there are no empty spaces. Okay, so I think edge of the boat is quite fun, treasures are fun, blue cats is going to be an interesting challenge, but let's go for something that's going to be a little bit more tricky, and we are going to discard the 5 blue cats card, and as I say, we're just going to put these face up next to our boat. At this point, I should say, if you're interested in how to play video, please check out the other videos on my channel, because in this video, I'm simply going to be playing the game. I might teach you a few things as we go along, but that's not the primary goal. Okay. Our purple player has got 1 point per 2 cats touching the edge, 10 points if the middle row is full, and 10 points if you have no visible rats on your boat. I think as our red player has already gone for something to do with the edge of the boat, I think we'll get rid of the edge of the boat one, and we'll go for the middle row, and we'll also go for the no visible rats. Now, I'm going to have to remember who's doing what, and to work our way towards this, but we've got our lesson cards, we've got our boats, and everything is ready, so we're going to start the first day. Our red player is going to be first, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add cat tiles from the bag around the island. I've kind of left some space up the top here, so we are going to draw 8 cats, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4, and any rare treasures I'm simply going to put down here somewhere where you can see them, and we're going to keep drawing. Okay, we are getting a lot of rare treasures in our first round, which is good. This is going to give our players a lot of extra options as we play through the game, and it's also a sign that I am terrible at drawing randomly from a bag. Okay. This is our 8 cats. We've got 2 green, 2 blue, red, purple, and 2 orange. Red is going first. They are looking to get all of their treasure maps done, so it's going to possibly be a good start to work towards that. I think that I'm going to take this orange cat here, and I'm simply going to put it over this space nice and early. It helps us fill some of the edge. It helps us get this harder room at this side going, and it's also going to give us a treasure. And I think that I'm also going to take this treasure, and I'm going to put this one over here, because it nicely fills the space and it's a larger piece. Onto our purple player, and our purple player is looking to fill the middle of the boat and also cover all of the rats. They can see the other player's gone for orange, so we probably want to skip that for now. I don't want to go for red or purple because there's only one of each of those, so it's going to be blue or green. Looking at the blue could be quite good just to get something going along the bottom, but the green is kind of in the middle, so perhaps that's going to be a good starting point as well. I think that we could probably take this piece here, put this one over here, which nicely fits into this end, also covers the treasure, which allows us to choose one, and I think that again, we're probably going to take one of the larger treasures, just to help us fill up a bit more space. Our red player is going back and they want to continue their orange tiles. Now, this tile isn't best placed here because, to be honest, I didn't really look ahead, so I'm already not messing up, but you know, I could have probably played that better. I think that we're still going to take this one and we're probably going to put it here. I mean, it's not the end of the world, it's just a little bit awkward, but that's going to be okay. Purple player, back to the middle of the boat, back to covering rows. I think we're not too worried about covering the middle of the boat just yet. That's something that can come into the game a little bit later. For now, we want to just continue building up our families. This piece seems to work perfectly over here, but we do want to make sure we're not leaving too much of a space in the middle because it's very hard to fill those gaps with cats later on. The more we can keep it condensed, the better. Leaving the odd space like this is going to be fine, but we don't want to do too much. Back to the red player, we're looking at another cat. So I think that blue seems like a logical choice because the blue map is quite close to where we are. This one here is how's this one going to look? This one I think is actually not too bad. When he says not too bad, what he actually means is it's disastrous. No, there we go. That was it. That's what I saw in my head. So now we're hoping that this piece comes out again, which doesn't exist. So not ideal, but that's okay. Back to purple. Purple has no more greens. We've got Orange up here, blue down here. None of those two cats exist. So perhaps we want to go crazy. I mean, the red one is going to fit here quite nicely and would help us start filling the middle. The purple's also going to be good. I mean, do we want to go purple all the way across the boat? That does seem like an absolutely insane plan. So maybe we grab the blue. Maybe we fight against the blue, not letting the other player have it, and just help us working towards this blue treasure. But then, I don't know, maybe we're going to fill this space. I like to fill the space. I don't want to leave these empty gaps. If we can put this one in here, we can still get that blue to this treasure at some point. Surely we can do that. It's early game. Early game. Okay, back up here to our other player. And they're looking at the purple. They're looking at the red. The purple feels like a good option. I mean, it's not ideal. Like, we could put this in here and it does help us start moving towards this purple treasure. It's blocking off our orange a little bit, but I think that we're okay with that. We are going for treasure, so we definitely want to make sure we cover every treasure. So maybe with this one, maybe our red player is trying to get lots of different families. If we get one family of each color, that's going to give us at least 40 points. And then if we can fill the edge and cover the treasures, then we're looking at, what, 62 points pre-penalties, which isn't going to be too bad. So maybe that's a good starting point. Okay, so back to our purple player. Do we want to take this or do we want to pass it? It's not really going to help us, but it feels silly to throw it away. I mean, part of me is tempted just to continue across this middle, but it's going to block off that blue cat. And then, was it really worth it? But it's obviously, we can't throw it. So we could just kind of put it up here. We could continue, start building a red cat. We're not so worried about covering all the treasure maps. So I think that's what we're going to do. It's the end of the round. The boat is going to move on. We're going to swap the turn order and we're going to get 8 new cats out. So at the moment, our red player is feeling like they've probably got a slight advantage. They're feeling a little bit more in control, but they have left a space to fill, which they're not going to be able to fill. I mean, I guess they could fit it with a blue cat if that was to come out of the same shape, but nothing ideal. Purple players feeling a little bit more worried. Worried is probably the word. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another treasure coming out there. Can we see that one on the camera? We can. So one more cat. And here we go. So a lot of blue has come out. Now it's interesting. So purple's thinking they're glad that they did take this blue tile and didn't leave 2 for red. That's going to help them. There's 1 green that's okay. There's 1 orange that's good for up here. So is there the ideal blue cat to go into this shape? You're probably looking at the pieces and saying, yes. I'm looking at the pieces and saying, yes. I think that we're probably going to go with this one. This one feels pretty good. That's going to help us fill up that space. It continues filling the middle, gives us a nice room for the red, gives us some room for the blue and green. So that actually has worked out really, really well. Back to our red player. What are they thinking? They know that the blue tiles are going to be competed for. They're not too worried about the orange tile or the green tile. They could go for a red, but the blue is probably where it's at right now. So it feels like taking a blue is good, and this one is going to be probably the best option because it's going to be a nice and easy cover this space, cover the blue treasure map. So now we've got to make a decision. Are we going to hope that this is going to come out, or are we going to start filling it with treasures? Because it will take us 2 treasures, and we do want to fill that space to make sure that room is filled. So that's a little bit difficult. I don't know. I feel like, I mean, we're going to get 2 more treasures. We're going to get 2 more. So for this turn, I think we can probably skip it. I think we're okay. So we're probably just going to take a treasure. Now, I want to fill as much space as possible as always, so I feel like taking this one here and putting it down here is going to help. It's not ideal because it makes the purple a little bit more tricky, but it feels better than just taking a common treasure. The larger one here I just don't think is going to work, so I feel okay with that. Back to purple. We're looking at those blue tiles. Are any of them going to be good? I'm feeling like, I mean, this one works. This one's okay. But also I'm looking at the red tiles to see how the red tiles are going to play out if I put this in, and that will put us in a difficult situation with the reds. We've also got the green. I mean, this one here could fit in nicely to finish off this family, or at least to form the family. Or we could sacrifice the green and put the blue in here, but that seems like a bad decision. Starting off, I think we're going to put this one in. I think that's what we're going to do. It's not ideal for red. Maybe we're sacrificing this red cat. I mean, this blue family, we wanted to kind of move towards this though. So, I mean, if we put the green cat in here, then we could look at the idea of starting to build around where we think that cat's going to end up. So we could do this, which is a hopeful decision based on future decisions. So unless the red player is going to take that green cat, then that one might work in our favor. Back to the red player. Okay, so taking the other blue cat seems like a logical choice. It's not got a perfect position, but it's going to be okay. I think that just taking it and filling up a bit more. So again, we're going for treasure maps. We're also trying to fill the outside of our boat. This isn't going to help us with either of those two things, but it is going to form up this blue family. And I think that that's quite important to us. However, I'm also looking at this orange tile, thinking that we definitely want this to come in here as well to form up our orange family. But this then does give us the option to move to green and to start switching. And we're going to have to fill that space. That's not going to be ideal, but possibly is going to be the right decision. And that does make me think maybe I should have taken the green cat, because I know it would be helpful for the other player and it would be helpful for me. But we're not those kind of people, right? We don't want to be too aggressive. Back to purple, and purple. Purple is now going to take that green cat. No more risking it. The green cat comes into play, builds up this family, helps us continue, so blue can take the treasure map, leaves us a small gap that we can complete when this comes in, but we're looking for the ideal piece here. Probably that piece, but it's already gone. It seems to always be the case today. Back to our red player, and our red player is thinking, well, do I take the orange now? Build up this family, because the only way this is going to become a family now for orange is if we put a piece in there. This one does fit, so it seems like a good decision. It's not going to help us towards our goals, but it is going to help us towards our main goal, which is winning the game. Back to purple, and purple's got two red cats to choose from, and ideally would like to be able to fill up some of this space, but I don't think either of these cats are going to help. Unfortunately, this cat just isn't going to fit into these spaces. Likewise, the other cat, I can't see how it's going to fit nicely. So this one's probably going to be the least awkward, and we're going to have a think. We aren't too worried about treasure maps, so we could put this here, sacrifice the orange treasure map, leave us with a space, but at least it does kind of get us moving in the right direction. That seems like a possible option. I mean, if we do something like this, it's just going to leave us with awkward shapes and a rat to cover and not filling that space either. So I think that sacrificing that orange treasure map is going to be the way to go. Back over to our other player. They're looking at this red tile thinking, my god, that is not the kind of tile I want. But the orange family's done, the blue family's done, the green's coming up, the purple's coming down, so we could be pushing red through the middle. The question is, where do we want it to touch? Because if we put it here, are we going to make life too difficult for ourselves to connect to this purple cat? I mean, we're possibly being greedy trying to do that anyway, but it feels like that's a risk. Whilst if we put it up here, then that's not going to be in the way of purple. Green is going to be a bit fiddly, and we do need to fill the edge of our boat, but I feel like no, I think we're going to go down. I don't think it's great, but I think it's okay. So it's the end of the round. We're moving on. The players are going to switch. The next cats are going to come out. And I'm now starting to think that things have switched a little bit. Purple feels like they're doing okay. Red is starting to struggle just a little bit. But, you know, this is the great thing about the family mode. It is kind of filled with some interesting decisions. You don't have as much control as you have in the standard mode, but it means that you have to adapt more. And now you can see we have gained our 8 cats, and wow, 5 of them are green. That's interesting. That's really interesting, because our red player was looking to switch to green, and the perfect cat has come out. The purple player was looking to move away because they want this covered by blue, so they're not interested in those green cats, and that is troublesome. That is going to cause a lot of trouble for the purple player, and they're going to have to make a decision. But first it's the red player, and I think by all that is good in the world, they're going to take this tile. They're going to place it here because that is the dream tile for green. Fills the spaces, does the edges, covers the rats, builds green in towards the treasure map, which is fantastic news. But our purple player, their hands in their face is in their hands even. That's a better way of saying that sentence. And they're looking and they're thinking the red cat is good. I mean, the red cat works nicely and it is going to do a good job. But what are they going to do with the greens? Because if they take the red, and then let's say the other player takes another green, they're going to take the purple or the orange, and neither of those really are what they want. So, but I don't know. I mean, they could start just pushing. Maybe they go purple through the middle, but they're still going to end up with a green cat. So if they're going to end up with a green cat, maybe now is the time to decide which of the green cats, because at least there's options. Is there anything we can do to avoid covering this treasure map? I think that there isn't, is there? Because all of the tiles are going to cover it. So are we going to sacrifice this treasure map? Are we going to sacrifice it? It's not the end of the world. We're not working towards treasure from maps, so covering it is okay. It is unfortunate, but maybe just building this family along is going to be the right option. So let's do it. Let's go all in. Let's go green. And let's say that that blue family is not getting their treasure maps. Back to the red player. They're a little bit disappointed because that tile didn't look too bad to them either. And now they're trying to work out which one is going to be right for us. Have we got the ability to cover that treasure map this turn? And I think the answer is no. They're going to take this plus piece. They're going to stick it in here. And they're hoping that they're going to get the zigzag that's going to come out over here to cover that treasure map. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble. Back to the purple player. Now, what's their options? They cannot cover these two squares with either of these two pieces. So we're kind of like, we're not too pushed for that. And I think that the red tile is a good tile that we want to be exploring. So I think we are going to take it. The question is, where are we going to go with it? We could put it up here, which would help us continue across towards here and cover the rest of this room. Or we could put it in here, which would help us cover up 6 spaces, leave us with another 1x1 that we are going to have to cover. And I think that is too much of a risk for us. We're going to have to come back to this later and hope that plays out, because this works really nicely for our long-term strategy, but we do have to fill the middle of our boat. Oh my goodness, we're in round 3. We're halfway through the game. This is the halfway piece. So not filling up that middle of the boat is just too much of a risk for us. We're going to have to basically take the boat, but no visible rats. I don't know if I can leave that rat out. We can't do it. We can't do that. We have to cover this rat. I completely forgot about no visible rats, and we can't leave that because we're going to have a 1x1 here, a 1x1 here, a 1x1 here. It's too many 1x1s. We are not going to get those. Oh boy, it's starting to ramp up. It's starting to get a little bit more difficult, and we're going to be going back to our red player. They are feeling good. They managed to get their green corner piece, and we're going to be putting this here quickly without any thinking, covering the treasure map, giving us a treasure. And now this becomes more intense, because are we going to start filling those 2 spaces with our treasures, or are we going to continue playing the long game and just filling more and more room? I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking this is going to be great. This is going to help us cover a lot of spaces, and that is feeling nice. We do need to make sure we do the edge of our boat, and so far we've not done too much edge. We're focusing a little bit too much in the middle maybe, and this is going to block off this red piece. So maybe that's not the way we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to take this piece and we're going to stick this here. This is possibly going to make this cat's life just that little bit more difficult, but I think we need to be filling more of the edge. I think we need to be getting across. If we can put a purple here and cover that, that's fine. We don't want to block off that red tile. We need it to continue going across. So at the moment, I feel like that's going to be our best bet, but again, it's a challenge, and this is one of the things, right? Because you look at it and you think, well, this purple cat would go nicely to continue the purple, and if I put that treasure there, I'm going to block it out of the way, so maybe we sacrifice off the red one. And at this point, I'm thinking, you know what we're going to do? We're going to fill this. We're going to have to go for it. I think everything else is potentially too much of a risk and too much in our way. So that's what we're going to do. We're coming back to the purple player, and they're thinking, what do I want? The orange cat is no good to me. The purple cat is no good to me. So maybe it's the green cat, but is the green cat going to really help me with anything? I mean, arguably, the green cat could go somewhere like here. Now, this isn't going to help us connect. We still need another piece, but we've got time for that. That's an easy connection, but it does help us and fills up a bit more of this space, but I'm not convinced that's great. Whilst if we do something like this, it's not really helping us achieve much, is it? It's helping us get closer to purple, but what is that actually doing for us as a piece? So maybe we think of doing something like this, where it just helps us extend that middle, but then that's going to leave us with a really, really awkward and uncomfortable place. So part of me really likes the idea of putting it in here. Part of me feels that just neatly tidies this up. This is going to be a challenge, but we are going to get 2 more treasure maps. It's going to help us a little bit with this, and there's a lot of options now: a red cat, a blue cat, or a green cat in that space. So I think we're going to take the gamble, the long-term gamble, that a piece is going to come out and help us here. Now, a red player is going to take this up. They're going to stick this one in here, and that has worked out nice and well for them. They have left these 2 squares, which isn't ideal, but purple's connected. Purple can keep going, and maybe those 2 squares can be filled by a treasure. That will leave us with 1 more treasure to fill that space. So then we're going to have to be perfect around the rest of the boat, which is... that's asking a lot. That is asking a lot, but we're confident. Now the question is, are we going to take this tile? And I think... there's no reason not to. We could put this in here, and whilst we're not going to do much with this, it is going to cover a lot of rats. It's going to leave red accessible, green still accessible, and I don't really see the harm in that. So that's just going to help us a little bit, but it is starting to get a little bit nerve-wracking as we move into our 4th round. We've only got 2 more rounds. This is the last chance for purple to be the first player, and 8 more cats are going to be coming out. So the question is, what are we going to get? And you know, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the right tile is going to be here, and I don't even know what the right tile is. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see we have just gained a lot of orange tiles, and our purple player is thinking again, they're glad that they took that orange, because that is actually going to prove to be quite helpful for them. Okay, what is our options? Is there anything that's going to go into here nicely? And I'm looking at this tile, and I feel like this tile is pretty good, but I think it leaves us with 2 1x1s. And again, those 2 1x1s are just going to slowly beat us down. Like, it will cover that space, but it's not ideal. For the green cats, we've got the this one here, which is going to leave us with a 2x1 and a 1x1 again, which isn't ideal. And there's no blue cats. So I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a little bit worried, because we either gamble that next round the perfect thing comes out, or we have to just kind of go for it now and hope. And we do need to fill the middle. Filling the middle is critical for us in the long term of winning this game and covering all of these rats. And I think that going in there, as much as it does leave us now with a 1x1, a 1x1, and a 1x1, which is just not going to happen, we do need to fill that one, and we can get that one with just 1 cat, and then it does get us to here for our middle row, and it continues that red family. I think we're now sacrificing filling this room, or maybe that room, or maybe both rooms, which is a lot of points, but it's where we got to go with this. Okay, back over to our other player. Now, they really want to get their red across. They really want to get a purple in here, but what is the right tile? They could put the long purple along here. That would leave them with 2 spaces, and they're not going to get enough treasure maps. The green is looking like a really good shape for up here, and I feel like it has to be that. I feel like this has to come up. As much as they want to build this red across, it's too late in the game now. Not enough red's coming out. So maybe 1 red tile is going to come out there. Maybe they're going to fill the edge of the boat, but I am getting worried for red and purple. Everyone's worried. I don't think we're going to achieve these goals, and this is going to be a disaster. But that's why you guys are here, isn't it? You don't want it to go well. It's no fun if I win, even though I'm both players, so I'm going to win. Okay, so the green isn't great, but we're not trying to fill the edge. We're trying to fill the middle, trying to fill the edge. Gotta remember. So the green could be good, but again, we're going to leave this space. But then, oh my goodness, we're leaving so many little spaces over here that it's not ideal. There's no reds. We could take that purple and try and get towards this and maybe continue across the middle with orange. And I feel like maybe that's a good option for us. We need to cover the rats. So can we get a good piece that's going to cover that rat and continue this middle row? Not ideally, but we can take this piece, for example. This piece would help us continue in the middle, cover that rat, build up the orange cat path, and I think that that's going to be okay. If we can cover all of our rats and get the middle done, then we're going to be in okay places. Okay, red. Oh my goodness, red, what are we doing? We do need the purple, and we do need to fill the edges. And we do need a red. And we do need a miracle. We need a Christmas miracle. I mean, that green cat is not going to help us fill the edge. The orange cats are not going to be doing anything for us. So I feel like we have to take the purple cat. But if we take the purple cat, we are committing to these being our two treasure tiles. And we might not even get the red one. So that is going to kill us off. But it builds the purple family. We have to get that purple family done. It also gives us the ability to fill this room. It also helps us fill a lot more of the edge. And it does give us that one more treasure, which may be enough. That extra 2 points may be enough. So it's not gone badly. We said we wanted to build all the families. The red one doesn't look like it's coming through. The green one has got extra length. The blue and orange and purple are basic. So we're still on track if we can fill all of this and this within the next turn. Okay, so back to purple. Purple, I think we're just going to take a long orange tile. We're just working our way through this central piece now. If we can try and fill this room, that would be great. We do want to cover one of these treasure maps that's going to be useful, and this tile has locked off the red a little bit, but we do need to just cover one of them, and we need to leave enough space. So what are we going to do? Part of me feels like I want to take this piece because this could work quite nicely in getting us along further, and it gets us really close, but I don't think that that is the right option because it's going to make life very, very difficult for us. So I'm wondering maybe something like this. It leaves us with a little bit more room, and it also allows us for some other options if we're lucky in a minute. So back to the red player. It's hard with them now because they need to keep filling the edge of the boat. And they need to cover this with a red cat. They have to get a red cat for here, which means continuing the green cat family is all but impossible and leaving this free. But the green is the only good option tile. So the question then becomes, do we just put it here, continue the green family, cover these two rats off, and then hope next round we can do this? Or do we just put it down here, and then this is going to fill a few spaces, leave us some complicated gaps for later? Oh my goodness, I think we're going to come over here. I think we're going to put it here. This family is not happening. We are doing this. We are hoping. We've covered a lot of rats. We filled very, very few rooms, but we will see what happens. We've got one more round to go. So back to our purple player, and they are looking at this piece and they are thinking, this is beautiful. Look at this. It fills our middle row apart from that one square. So we need a purple or a red that fit into one of these two gaps, and then we're going to be good. And now it's all about covering those rats. And hopefully that shouldn't be too bad. And the fact we've got loads and loads of empty rooms, but who's worried about that? Back to our red player. And I mean, is this tile going to help them? They don't really want to pass it because it's just 3 points for purple. Like, we could put it in here. We could just try and use it to fill off this one square like this. We could try and put it in here to try and help us start filling some of these rooms, but I'm not even sure that it's going to be helpful on that front, really, because, I mean, if we do this, is that really helping? Is that just going to make this really hard to fill? I'm not sure. So maybe just doing this. It's not ideal. I mean, I'm not really sure what it's doing, but it does get us that one square closer. And it's going to be a miracle if we fill in all this space, isn't it? Isn't it going to be a miracle? I mean, I'm hoping. You're hoping. Well, you're probably not hoping, but we're moving on to the final round. And right now, I don't know who's going to win. I feel like purple may have just pinched it, but it's really going to depend on whether the right cats come out in this final turn. We have got 5 of our cats out. We need 3 more. We have got 1, 2, 3. This is our 8 cats, and there is a lot of red and purple. The red player is rejoicing with happiness over this because one of these is going to be perfect. Surely one of these is going to be perfect. The question is, which one? which one of these tiles is going to give us that red cat and fill the optimal amount of space to allow us to continue filling the rest. And I think it's going to be this one. Isn't it going to be this one? This one looks like it's going to fit there quite nicely. I mean, I'm looking at the other tiles. I'm thinking about what's going to happen. I'm hoping about what's going to happen. And I think that may be the way to do this. Oh, I'm so unsure, but I think that's going to be the way to do this. And we're going to have to gamble it. We're going to have to hope that we get that other piece, because 12 points are filling the edge of this boat. We need to go for it. So over to purple. Purple desperately wants to cover one of these two, if not both of them, just to help fill in this space as a requirement. And what is going to be the best piece to do that? I mean, purple does not fit. Red, we could continue this red family maybe with this piece. How is this piece looking? This piece, that might be the piece. That might be the ultimate piece that covers the map, that continues us across, that gives us our 1x1, that fills the middle of our boat. And oh my goodness, that continues the family. So now we have got to just cover these rats and we are going to be good. And that rat! Oh, I don't know if we can do that. I don't know if we can cover it. Have we screwed up? Oh my goodness, I don't know. It all depends. Back to our red player. What is our red player going to do? Our red player is looking and they are thinking, this is the perfect piece to go that corner. Now all they need is one piece that's going to go into here. This piece would fill that square. I think that is the only piece that will fill that square, but it will do it. There is one piece. Back to our purple player. What is our purple player going to do? They need to cover this. They need to cover this. They're looking at the options. I don't know if it's possible. This blue square could cover these. That leaves us with this one. We're going to still get 3 more cats from this. So that does leave us with an option to cover this. And if we put the blue in, this one and that one will all help us with that other cat. So really it's about this one here. And the question is, what tiles can cover that? And I think this piece here does give us that option. It's not the right color, but it does cover that rat. And at this point, that's going to be helpful. And the red player knows that was the piece that they needed. That was the one piece. The entire game, the full strategy has fallen at the final hurdles. And now it is just damage control. They are not going to get this. They have not filled any of these rooms. Can they do this in the final round? Can they come back and do something? What's going to give them points? This is not a family. Connecting this to a red cat is not possible. There is no way we can go to blue. Purple, we can't fit the purple cat in. So I think the only option we've got is this green cat. And this green cat, we can connect to this family for some points. It's not going to help us that much. It is not what we need. But at least it's helping us a little bit connect that up. This has been, oh my goodness, if we had not put this orange cat in, maybe it would have been different. Maybe we would have been able to do it, but that was the gamble we took. Back to the purple player. The purple player is over the moon. They know that their strategy is coming through. Of course, it's not perfect. It never is, but they have got one more rat to cover, and there's only one piece that can do it. Maybe they're not going to do it. Our red player is looking desperately. Can I take that piece? Is it going to fit on my boat? But I don't think any of these pieces. I've got no 5 long straight. Can this red piece fit? And it can't. Red could have screwed over purple and taken this final piece to stop them from achieving their dreams, but they didn't do it. They didn't manage to do it. They have to pass. They are falling at the final hurdle, and we are coming back down. We have covered our last rat with purple, and they've still got the opportunity to take the other tile because red has passed, but I don't think it's going to help. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. So there we have it. We are at the end of the game, and we are going to start scoring. So I'm going to grab the score pad, and we're going to, as always, put it slightly off the edge of the screen just to make things more interesting. We're going to start with blue families, and over here we've got a family of 3, which is going to be 8 points for our red player, and we've got a family of 3, which is going to be 8 points for our purple player. Green cats, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is going to be 20 points for our red player. And we've got no, this is not connected. We never connected that at the end. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for our purple player, which is going to be 11 points. Orange cats, we've got 1, 2, 3 over here for our red. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 over here for our orange, which is going to be another 11. And purple, we've got 3 over here, which is 8. We've got none over here for our purple player. And red cats, none for the red player. That one cat disconnected in the final lines, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red cats over here for our purple player, which is going to be 15 points. We're also then going to look at our lesson cards. We did not fill the edge of our boat. If we had not put this here, didn't I say? It was such a gamble. If we hadn't have done that, oh my goodness, because we didn't fill the room. We didn't fill the room and we didn't get the edge. This is where we went wrong. So we do get 2 points for each treasure, which means we're going to get 10 points for our red player, but we're going to get nothing for the other one. Over on our purple player, did we fill the middle row? We did. Did we cover all of our rats? We did. They're going to score 20 points, which feels like it's going to give them a good lead. Red has got 0 visible rats. Purple's got 0 visible rats. And in terms of rooms we haven't filled, well, let's just say we're all going home empty-handed. Our red player's got 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms they have not filled. They have not filled the storage, they've not filled the main deck, they've not filled the dining room or the captain's room. So they have got minus 20 points. And our purple player has got the storage, the deck, the bedroom, the dining room, and the other bedroom. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms they've not filled. It's going to be minus 25. So in the end, we have scored for the red player 8, 28, 36, 44, 54, 34 points for the red player, and our purple player scored 8, 19, 20, 30, 45, 65, 40 points. So our purple player wins by 6 points, and that was a tense game. I hope you guys had fun. I had a lot of fun. Hopefully I'll see you in another playthrough soon. Until then, keep on adventuring. If you get any questions, ask them in the comments below.